Hi everyone, welcome back to the Hideaway. Hope you're all okay. So today we've got another restoration project. This blanket box, a friend of mine gave it to me to take a look at. He gets stuff from auctions and gets me to do the restoration work on it. So let's dive in and see what we can do with it. Okay, let's take a closer look. Yeah, as you can see, the finish on the front, it's really scratched, really bad. Let me just get up a little bit closer. Yeah, you can, I don't know if you saw some of that, but that's just coming away on my fingers. But nothing a good carbide scrape and a bit of sanding. I think that'd be fine. You can see there we've got a bit of some veneer missing. It's a bit rough on the top and there are some stains. You can probably just see some stains here and a few more here and here. And then, yeah, some more missing veneer here, but not overly concerned about that. We'll just cut this out and replace it. So that's not too bad. What else do we have? And this is the back. Yeah, so this here is really starting to come away. So I think once this has had the finish kind of scraped off it, I think I might just try and inject some glue into there and just try and reseal that back down. It's the same kind of here, but I don't think it's overly difficult, this one. Yeah, the side, as you can see, just really scratched and just a little bit battered, but I don't think it's going to be too onerous. I don't think. Should be quite nice once it's finished. I'll just take a look on the inside. I think we'll just take the hinges off. They're in pretty decent nick, but just a bit of a clean. It's got that 1950s smell. I think it's just, yeah, this is just plywood. Yeah, it's pretty big, but I think first things first is a good clean. Just using my old favourite elbow grease here. Does a great job. It gets rid of a lot of the grime and grease. Perfect for cleaning. I was a bit worried about scraping the top. There was some finish to scrape off, but it was a bit flaky in parts of the veneer on the top of the lid, but it turned out alright. Okay, so scraped the lid. It didn't scrape too badly in this part. Still needs a bit of a sand, but I'm relatively happy with it at this point. 2 hot dogs. Scorching today, absolutely scorching. Lying on the gravel to stay cool, and this one lying in the shade. I've made a start on the main part of the box, and this was scraping really quite nicely. It was coming up lovely. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Anyway, I'm done for today. It's crazy hot, so I'll come back to this tomorrow. Alrighty, where we get to? So on these bits where you've got a bit of like a moulding, I'm just going to put some paint stripper on it. I'm a little bit reluctant to scrape this back because I don't want to kind of burr the wood in any way, shape or form. So I think I'm just going to put a layer of paint stripper on it, leave it for an hour, and then scrape it off. So I've removed all the paint stripper now, and put some over it just to kind of clean off any residue. It's come off pretty well. Quite pleased with that. So whilst I was scraping on the back, I wanted to stop because I could see that if I started to scrape whilst this back and this veneer was in this condition, there was a risk of me catching it and just making more damage to the veneer. So I'm just going to glue this back down. I don't really want to take it up. It's not a bad split, as you can probably see, and it's pretty much the same just over here. So I'm going to get some hide glue. It should do the trick. I've got some in a syringe, so I'm going to try and inject it into, because it goes quite far, and for the places that it doesn't go as far back, I'm just going to get some cocktail stick and just try and smear it all in. So I'll try that now. I'm just going to have a look at this missing piece of veneer just up here. I think I'm just going to cut this piece out. It comes quite far down, and I've managed to find something that's not okay. I think it's a little bit off color, but it's not too bad. I think once everything's been stained, and out of all the offcuts I've got, it's the closest I can kind of find. The grain doesn't match perfectly, but I think it's probably going to be the best that best that I've got and the best that I can do. So I'm just going to cut this out and then glue this piece down. So I've just marked out just with a bit of masking tape, just a few bits where I just need to fill, nothing major, it's quite small really. And I've checked the rest of the box and there's actually not much filling to do. There's a couple of little knocks here or there. So I'll do that next. I'm going to use Brummer wood filler. It's a natural oak, which is going to dry quite light, but it's stainable and paintable. This will be stained, I think. So I'm kind of hoping that it does the job. So at this point, everything was sanded down to 120 grit. And this is me just adding some oxalic acid to remove any of the stains on the lid and the main box, which you'll see later. After the oxalic acid has dried, I neutralise it with water and a little bit of elbow grease, and then sand again to 240 grit. After sanding, I'm using white spirit just to remove any excess dust. You may notice there's some spots in the veneer that I've not replaced, and I've done this intentionally. I've decided to use a technique with some wax to fill those gaps. It's something I've done before and it works quite well, so I decided to give it a go. I'm just giving the hardware a bath in a 1-to-1 mix of white vinegar and water and bringing it to the boil. After they've cooled, I use some Brasso just to give the hinges and the rest of the hardware a bit of a shine. The feet were pretty difficult to clean off really. They were a lot better than what they were, but I wasn't overly fussed about those. They weren't going to be seen, so I gave them a bit of a scrub, but nothing much more than that. So here I'm applying some restorer finish to the bottom of the box. This is before I start staining the rest of the box. I apply it just like I would a normal stain, but it just brings back to life whatever finish was put onto the bottom. It wasn't in bad condition, so I opted for this instead of normal stain. So I'm on to the main bit of staining now. So I'm going to use Morel's walnut light fast stain. Does a great job. Used it before many times. So this is the bit that I cut out just here. You can still see it a bit, but it's not too bad. Yeah, relatively happy with it. So on the inside of the box, I decided to use Morel's Honey Pine. Just gives a bit of a contrast against the walnut. I thought it looked quite nice. So as I said earlier on, I've intentionally left a couple of these little chips. I just wanted to try a technique using these soft waxes. I'm going to try and fill this little chip here. And there's a couple of others that I need to do as well. I think the camera might not pick up the colour very well here, but I think I'm going to go with this one. But I've got this Solder Pro with a hot knife, so I'm just going to do that, and then just melt some wax into this little chip, and then I've got this tool here that just scrapes away the excess. So we'll see what it looks like. I don't think that's turned out too bad. It's here. Yeah, you look closely enough and you'll probably see the difference. But yeah, first glance, I think it's too bad. So pretty happy with that. So I've just added another couple of bits of wax just on here, and I think it's kind of blended pretty well. Just in here, kind of matches this grain here. So pretty chuffed with that. There was another piece just over here, just there. I'm just going to try and dull that down a little bit. So time for top coat. I'm going with this Gilboy's hard wax oil. I've never used it before, so we'll see how it goes. So it's had a coat of the wax oil now. It's just starting to sink in. I'll give it a buff up in a bit. This is the front. I quite like the way that this pattern on the grain pops a little bit. Looks pretty good. On the inside, I'm just going to use feed and wax. I'm going to brush feed and wax on the inside, just to give a little bit of a sheen. Then it'll just be get the hinges back on and the feet back on, and we're pretty much done, I think. So we're all done on this one. Yeah, I've learned a lot from this restoration project. I'm pretty pleased with the outcome. It looks pretty good, and you'll see that in the final reel. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the process. I guess that's the thing for me. It's about trusting the process, and trusting yourself that you'll get to a good outcome and a good finish. With restoration work, there's a lot of scraping and sanding and staining and things like that. So I hope you've enjoyed that. A lot of people find it kind of quite therapeutic. So hopefully you have as well. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Love to hear from you all, as always. And what you like, what you don't like. things that you want me to maybe think about in the future, whether it's to do with the videos themselves, or even some the way I go about my work. Thanks to all my new subscribers. It's great. I can't believe I've actually got some subscribers. It's brilliant. It means so much to me. It's taken a long time for me to actually post anything on YouTube. So I appreciate all your support. Please, can I just ask, just like, subscribe, comment, and just let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.